Mary Steenburgen, did you know that you were not going to die this season on The Last Man on Earth?
Um, I think I had a few minutes of worrying about it, and then I talked to Will about it, and he said no. He said I would kill Tandy off before I would kill Gail off, so that was very reassuring. Since there really is no show without Tandy, so I figured I'm safe.
Now, yeah, this show has a lot of deaths, so I was going to ask how long, you saw yourself working on the show, but I guess, do they ever talk to you about how long they see the show going?
Um, I don't. We don't think that way. I think we just think about one step at a time. You know, in the world of television, your fate is kind of really up to other people and to the viewers and to how well a show does. And so all you can really do is just try to make the best show you can. And that we do with, a lot of passion and energy and fun every single week, so the rest is up to, in this case, Fox and Hulu and the other people that show the show and the viewers.
And what is it that you're always drinking on the show? Is that grape juice?
Most of the time. Most of the time, it's either white grape juice for Chardonnay or red or grape juice, sort of grape juice, or I don't know, various combinations of things. Sometimes it's ginger ale. Oh, there goes my phone. And then sometimes on a very, very late night, Friday night, is just one.
Oh, exciting. Yeah. What would you say is the hardest part of filming a show that exists without people? Like I've seen interviews with Will Forte where he said that an unexpected challenge is that they're trying to silence all the bugs that are around, because apparently that's a rule on the show.
Well, the bugs, and we had a cricket on our stage one time, and nobody could find this cricket. It was like this amazing magical cricket that just could not be found, but we'd hear it every time we started to take. And then when we shoot on the beach, seagulls are a problem because there are no birds, So that's a little bit tricky, but I think the thing that's really lovely about it is that there have been sort of varying numbers of us. I think there's 7 right now of us, and there's just an amazing closeness to us. There's this sense of family, and we, I was texting with them yesterday. We're close, as a group, and have even traveled a little bit together and do things that really feel like family. So I think some of that is because there are only just us and no other distractions, big party scenes with lots of people and all that.
Where did you go?
They came to my Aunt Frida's 92nd birthday in Little Rock, Arkansas. Wow. And Will and my Aunt Frida danced the night away. It was really quite something to see.
So how did you get this role in the first place, and how much did you know about it going in?
Well, there wasn't really anything to know. I don't know if Will even knew who Gail was going to be. And like most TV shows where you have the luxury of time, you do find your character as you go along, and that's one of the kind of privileges of doing a television show that runs a little while. It's just you just keep finding stuff about the character. And last season we found we had talked about what is Gail running from and what is she hiding, and they find out in just one sentence in one scene with Kristen Shaw that I had a son and that he died, and that he didn't die from the plague. she asked me, did he die from plague? And I say no. And that's never explained or spoken about again. And one of the things I love about the show is that you can do that. I know what happened and I have it, but really nobody knows that but me. I use that as an actor. So in terms of, this is a long-winded answer to how did I get on the show? I got a call from Will Forte saying, we're doing this show and I want to create a character for you. And would you be interested? And I went and looked at the first 2 episodes, which of course was, the first one was just Will and the second was Will and Kristen. But 5 minutes into the first episode, I leaned over to my manager and said, I'm in, I want to do this, because I love the unusualness of the world, the way it looked, the fact that you can't even light it like a regular show because we don't have electricity and all this other stuff most of the time. And the whole kind of bizarre, creative, wonderful world that you enter when you get to know Will Forte and he's doing something like this, it's very much where I live and who I am, and it just was like my career was rewarding me for something, for just hanging in there, you know? That's how I felt about it. And I feel that every day I'm on the set. I love being there. I love the people, and I love the strangeness and the hilarity of the world that we create there together.
Now, when you joined in the first season, you kind of joined with Cleopatra Coleman and a bunch of other people who were added along the way. And throughout the first season, then they would kind of be upgraded to the main cast, whereas you were still credited as a guest star until the second season. Is there any reason for that beyond something related to contracts that we're not privy to?
To be honest, I forgot that. That's not, I don't focus on that stuff. I leave all that stuff to my reps. I don't pay much attention to it. So I think you're right. I think that's true. But I think it wasn't a question of would I work out. It may have been a question of just how the contracts were set up in the first place, and would I want to continue to do this? But there wasn't any doubt in my mind about it.
Yeah, you're on so many television shows these days. Like especially like this decade, you're on Orange is the New Black, Justified, Blunt Talk this year, plenty of other things. Why are you working so much these days in this medium?
Would you like me to calm down?
No, not at all. I mean,
okay. I think I just do what makes my heart beat faster. And to be honest, I spent a lot of years raising kids, and during those years, I turned down a lot of the stuff, and I didn't work as much in jobs that would take me away from them. And now it's just me and Ted and my dog Arthur. And I really, it's fun for me to do what I want to do, and say yes to more things. But there's nothing really that I enjoy more than doing this show.
Now, on The Last Man on Earth, you've got lots of kind of big guest stars who just come in for a second, and then they get killed off. For your character, Will Ferrell was the most important one. Is there anybody that you would like to work with for just a guest spot that you could bring in for that kind of a role on the show?
Oh my God, there's so many people. There's so many people, that I'm fans of. But one of the thrills is that Kristen Wiig came on at the end at our finale last season. And she's going to be back, and she's a friend of mine, and she's somebody I think is just a crazy, remarkable talent, and I'm really excited to work with her.
What would you say has been the funniest thing to film on the show?
Oh, the funniest thing to film for me, and I could almost not, I actually asked them to write me out of the scene. I said, could Gail go get a bottle of wine at this point and, excuse herself to get wine, and they wouldn't let me do it. But it was in season, I think it was in season 2, and it was just, I think it was the episode after I had unfortunately botched an appendectomy on Boris Kucho, which was horrible, as I loved Boris Kucho and I hated to see him go. But anyway, after I accidentally killed him, I think it was the episode after that that Will was singing a tribute song to him, and I had not really either read that little section of the script properly, since it wasn't going to be, I just had to listen, or he invented this or something. I don't remember, but we sit down and he starts to tune his guitar, and he does it really carefully, and they're filming, and they're just filming over my shoulder. And then he starts to sing this song, Closure, and he, after all that tuning, he only hits the guitar. That's it. He doesn't play it. And I sat there with like so much like giggles and hilarity just boiling up, and I tried so hard. My cheeks were puffing out with trying to hold my breath to stop from laughing, and then finally I just burst out laughing. Luckily, I let him get through most of it before I did that, because that wouldn't be fair, because it was so brilliant. But then that's when I asked, could I please be excused from this scene? But they made me sit there anyway. I'm sounding deeply unprofessional.
What can you tell me about the new season of Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Really nothing. I'm not in it a lot because they overlapped with Last Man, so I really wasn't able to do very much. But Ted is in it more, and except to say that everybody that you loved from past seasons, I think they're pretty much all there, and it honestly felt like no time had passed, and we just started the next day. It felt exactly the same. I mean, I'm sure we all look a little bit older, but other than that, it's exactly the same.
It's funny you mentioned earlier about how there's that one line of dialogue where Gail's talking about her past. But I mean, like, you've been on the show for, I think I read 39 episodes at this point. Is there anything that you want to see next season with Gail that kind of delves more into her backstory?
No, not really. One of the things about this is that I could never, I write music, but I couldn't write a show like this. I don't have that, as far as I know, I don't have that little gift in me. And what I do know is I couldn't write what these guys come up with, because it makes me laugh so hard, and it's so out of left field, and the world is their oyster as far as imagination, So for me, I kind of love not having to think of what my character is going to do. I like just receiving it. And the only thing that has ever been important to me was that one thing, because I felt like Gail kind of drinks because she likes to drink, but she also drinks because there's something to forget, and it's a way of coping. And we all in this world have seen sorrow, like everybody's lost people, and we mostly don't talk about it. Will has talked about it maybe more than the other characters, or Kristen has a bit, but mostly we we're survivors, and we're focused ahead. And one of the things about surviving is how you do deal with loss. And so I think Gail's kind of one of the most obviously self-destructive about how she deals with it.
So our site, we cover the Emmys half the year. The other half of the year, we cover the Oscars more intensely. So you're the first Oscar winner I've talked to, and I have to ask you about your speech. I watched the clip. First of all, I was struck by how big everybody's hair was, and then how it seemed like
how big the flower in my hair was. That was kind of
yeah. And it seemed like there are only like a couple hundred people in the room as well, whereas now it's like this gigantic
right,
stage. But then I was most struck by how once you get to the stage, that's like the calmest acceptance speech I've ever seen.
Was it?
Yeah, like
man, I wasn't calm. I wasn't. I think what you saw was somebody who was absolutely intent on thanking the people I needed to thank, and that was my focus, because I was full of emotion and excitement, but I was determined to thank Jack Nicholson, who's the person who, even though he had nothing to do with that movie, he really is the person who cast me in my first film and was my first director and first leading man, and took a huge chance on me when everybody told him he was crazy and he should cast a big star. And so it was important to me to thank him. It was important to me to thank Sandy Meisner, my teacher, and who had given me so much in New York at the Neighborhood Playhouse. And it was, of course, incredibly important for me to thank Jonathan Demme, who, my friend that just passed away, who directed the movie and who was just one of my favorite people on the planet, and certainly just a crazy privilege to work with him. He was such an wildly talented director, and he made everybody that came in contact with him better at their jobs. And I just was so lucky. I did a couple of films with him and was in a film he produced as well, and I just loved him.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Mary. We look forward to the next season of Last Man on Earth, and also, all the movies that you always have coming out.
Thank you so much. Thanks.